been a while. Again. Clearly, I am not cut out for this whole YouTubing thing, but I'm gonna come back again anyway. I have been trying multiple times over the past couple of months to make this video, and every time I've sat down, I've filmed and everything, either I've looked at the footage, I've started editing it and just thought this looks like shit and never finished editing it, or I've filmed but then just not even bothered with editing. I have this thing that if I film something and it goes too long after, before I do something with the footage, I can't upload the footage, it's too old. Does anybody else get like that? Anyway, hi, I'm back. You probably don't remember me. I'm Em, this is Book Sprite, we're doing this. So, before we begin, a couple of things. Number one, I have moved, and that is part of why I've been gone. I'm not even gonna talk about why I've been gone, school, etc, etc. But I've moved, I now live in a big apartment, and I have this new bookshelf, so this setup is entirely new. We're trying something new and seeing how it's going. Number two, yes, that is a full-scale Dalek in the background. It's a cosplay that me and my friends are borrowing from the person who made it. Here's the Daleks. I have nicknamed them Met, short for Metaltron, which is like one of the nicknames for Daleks, so I think it's perfect. Met is living with me currently, but they're gonna move out at the end of February. So I have a Dalek as a roommate, and it's awesome. Anyway, the reason why we're here. I've been thinking long and hard about this whole booktubing thing, because clearly, since I keep falling off and stop doing it, how motivated to do it could I possibly be? And the answer I've come up with is that I do think it's fun, so I'm just gonna keep coming back whenever I feel like it. I do think that I want to try to like move away from the formula. I know that a lot of people on the booktube community have started doing that recently, and with recently I mean like for the past years. So I kind of want to find my own thing. I don't know what that is yet, so for now we're sticking with formula videos, like classic booktube stuff, until I can figure out what I actually want to do instead of those things. But yeah, we're just gonna get started. This intro is already way too long. So with that said, today we're gonna do a good old book haul, and I also think that my next video might be a bookshelf tour. I haven't done one since 2016. Like 2.5 years, that's crazy. But yeah, since I have a new setup, I really want to show it to you because I'm very proud of it, especially like this shelf. And then after that, I don't know, we'll find out along the way. Like I said, today we're gonna do a book haul. The books I have here are everything that I've gotten since my last book haul that you can check out if you want to. It's from like June, I think. Basically everything that I got in the last half of 2018. I haven't gotten any books in 2019 yet, although I'm going to LA in February and I am still gonna hit up Barnes & Noble, I'm gonna hit up Target, I'm gonna buy all of the books because the books in the United States are actually the ones that I want to buy. I'm so excited. Anyway, that is not the point of this video. Let's get into the haul. The first book that I have to show you is a book that I got for Christmas. Nobody is gonna know what it is, but it is Mot framtiden, en simpel guide till att krossa patriarkatet by Clara Henry, and that title is Swedish. It roughly translates to the future, a simple guide to smashing the patriarchy. This is a book by former YouTuber Clara Henry. She used to do vlogging and now she's kind of like a celebrity in Sweden. She wrote a book a couple of years ago about the menstrual period thing. I think that's translated into English now actually. I think it's called Yes, I'm on my period, so what? You should go check it out because it is amazing. Anyway, she is proud feminist, and this is another book that is more focused on feminism than the other one was. I'm actually currently listening to this on audio. Even though I have the physical copy, she reads her audiobooks herself, and I think that she is a very good narrator, so I'm listening to it while I'm sewing, and it's awesome. It's really insightful, and it has some tips on like everyday feminism stuff that I think are really helpful. I'm probably gonna talk about this more in a future video. I don't know, it's good. I got it. The next book I have to show you is Morning Star by Pierce Brown. If you've been following me during 2018, you might know that I read the first book in this series, Red Rising, in early 2018. I really loved it, so I got the second book and I read that in July. So naturally I had to get the third book, and I also read this in December, I think. So yeah, I finished this trilogy now. It was amazing. So like I said, this is the third book in a series, so it's kind of hard to describe what it's about. But this series essentially is like a fantasy space opera mixed with a little bit of the Hunger Games and some dystopian like tendencies, but it's not really a dystopian. This series as a whole focuses a lot on political intrigue in space, basically. I don't want to say more than that because I think that Red Rising is a book that is really nice going into blindly. It's one of those books, so let's just leave this there. I just realized that it was my intention to tell you that I'm starting with the books that I've read already. I don't think I did. Now you know. The next book is, oh my god, I have so much to say about this, but at the same time I have nothing to say about this that hasn't already been said. The next book I have is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is like the most talked about book on booktube from 2018, so naturally I had to buy it as well. I read this, I finished this last week, so it's one of my first reads of 2019 and I love it so much. It is definitely my favorite book of the year so far. It's probably gonna be my favorite book of 2019, let's be honest. It is, it's so iconic. It is amazing. If you don't know, in short, this book is about this woman, Evelyn Hugo, who was like this famous starlet in the Hollywood industry in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. She is most notoriously known for having 7 husbands, but she has been very closed off and like to the media and to interviews, and ever since she retired in the 80s, she hasn't really talked to anyone until in 2017 she contacts this reporter called Monique, who is not very well known, and gives her an offer. Basically, she wants to give Monique her life story, and she wants her to write a biography about her and telling the world like everything, every aspect of her life, like the lies that she's told, the things that she has done, etc, etc. You kind of follow 2 storylines-ish. You get to hear all about Evelyn Hugo's life and her career, but you also get to follow Monique as she like hears this story and how that affects her. And also these 2 women seems to be connected in some way, and you get to figure out why Evelyn has chosen Monique as the person to write her story, etc. It is so good. Like, I think that the thing that fascinates me about this book the most isn't the book itself, but the fact that everyone likes it. Like, I'm not kidding, I haven't heard about anybody who dislikes this book. Like, it isn't everyone's favorite book, but everyone that I've seen read this has liked it. And that is very interesting to me because it is historical fiction. I would classify this as historical fiction mostly. And that isn't everybody's cup of tea. Like, I don't read historical fiction, but I loved this. And I think it's very interesting that that everybody seems to like this book, that it has become this phenomenon almost. I think that's really interesting. And there's so much else that's interesting about this book. But like I said, I can't say anything about this book that hasn't already been said. So we're gonna leave it here. Final book that I have to show you that I have actually read is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This book is very beautiful to begin with. Basically, in this book we follow a girl called Mila, and Mila's best friend dies, but Mila is 100% convinced that she did not kill herself, that there's something like mysterious going on. So what she does is that instead of just investigating the thing, she brings back her best friend from the dead. And by doing this, she accidentally brings 2 more girls from their school with her who has also died under mysterious circumstances. So now it's up to Mila and these 3 dead girls to find out who killed them, because they don't remember anything. And they're basically zombies, which I thought was really fun, and like the concept of zombies in this world was very interesting and fun to read about. Yeah, that's basically that. This is the perfect like fall book to read when it's like spooky times if you're into that. I've become very much of a mood reader, so I highly recommend this for next fall if you haven't read it already. Alright, we're gonna move on to the unread books now. Something I figured while I've been away is that I am so bad at giving out summaries, so I'm not gonna give out summaries for most of these. If you want to know more about what they're actually about, you can check out their Goodreads links. I'll make sure to leave them down below. I'm mostly just gonna talk to like why I got them and how I got them, I think. I don't know. We're gonna try this. It's a new thing. So the first thing that I haven't read yet that I have is one of my most anticipated releases for last year, and that was 9 from the 9 Worlds by Rick Riordan. Nobody talked about this, but it doesn't matter. So this is a collection of novellas set in the Magnus Chase universe. You might know that I love Magnus Chase. I think that it is objectively the best thing that Rick Riordan has ever written, like that series. As a whole, it is just the best trilogy of all time. I love it so much. So I was very like upset when it ended because that meant we weren't gonna go back to that world. So I am very happy that I finally can go back to my my favorite fictional world. It's 9 short stories and each one is set in one of the 9 worlds, which I think is gonna be so cool. And the stories are narrated by characters from the Magnus Chase world, but not by Magnus, and I am so excited about it. I keep forgetting that I have this because I put it with my other Rick Riordan books, so it's not with my TBR books, but like I'm so excited to finally read this. I've been anticipating this all through 2018. And I finally have it. The next book that I have to show you is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I'm sure you've heard about this. Basically, when Booktubeathon happened, which is now called the Reading Rush, by the way, they have this discount with the Book Depository, and they have like 100 books you can choose from, and you get a special discount on those. And this was there, so I got it for that reason, and also because it just seems amazing. I know that Alice Oseman is an author who explores the concept of fandom a lot, which I have only seen a couple of other authors do, and I've loved it every single time, so I look forward to stepping into her take on it. And this is mostly like about podcasts, and I don't listen to podcasts, but I think I'll like this anyway. Oh, and I can't forget to mention there's demisexual representation in here, which like, yes, I haven't read anything with demisexual rep before, so I'm very, very excited to see that represented, because you can never have enough LGBTQIA+ rep. The next book I have is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. It was just one of those things where I realized that Marissa Meyer is one of my favorite authors, because I love the Lunar Chronicles, but I haven't read anything else that she has put out. And she has put out a couple of things, so maybe I should try one. So I got Renegades, and that's basically it. I know that this is about superheroes and like 2 opposing sides of this society that is based around superheroism. That's all I know. Like, you would think that watching a lot of booktube and hearing people talk a lot about books would make you understand what books are about and make you able to actually explain it yourself, but nope, cannot do. Next up I have We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutcherson. This is like kind of the same as Renegades. I've heard it talked about a lot on booktube, so I wanted to get it, and like floppy paperbacks are nice. I know that this is about a guy who gets abducted by aliens and they give him the power to end the earth. And he doesn't really care about the world, so he says that they can. But then he falls in love with a boy and figures out that maybe the world is worth saving after all. Sounds fun. Like, getting abducted by aliens is a concept that I've never read about, and it's gonna be so interesting. Alright, next up we have a book that I've been wanting to get for years. And this series recently got a cover change, and I saw the change and I was like, this is it. This is the time when I get these books, because these new covers are so gorgeous. And that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. Like, look at this. I'm living for this. I like that this cover matches the aesthetic of the story so well. Like, I haven't even read it, but I know that it matches the aesthetic. I do have a bookmark in it. I've read like 30 pages. Anyway, this is set in the 1920s, and it's sort of like an urban fantasy with like creepy elements. At least that's what people on the booktubes say. Like, they say that it is creepy. I've been wanting to get this on audio, but unfortunately it's not available on any of the like Swedish audiobook apps, which is so sad because I've heard that the audiobook for this is fantastic, but I'm sure that the print version will be good too. I know that it's fantasy. I really like the main character's like power that she has. She can touch objects and sort of find out about their history, which already like 30 pages in I thought was really cool. So I can't wait to actually read this. And I've also heard that this series is pretty diverse, which is also always a plus. Yeah, can't wait to read it. Next up we have The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is a sequel to, I was gonna say Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda there, and I have no idea why. It's a sequel to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which came out in 2017, and I read it in 2018. I liked it. It was a bit overhyped for me. I didn't really like get into it until like a good halfway through. Ultimately, I ended up getting the sequel. But to be honest, I mostly got the sequel because of the representation, because the sequel is about the main character from the first book's little sister, and she is asexual and aromantic, which I think it's really important to support books about aromantic and asexual main characters. Like, I've been reading a couple books about asexual characters that are interested in romance, because that's what I am. I'm a pararomantic and asexual, so those books apply to me more. But so many people in the ace community are also aromantic, so I think that it is really important that we support those people as well, because they don't get nearly as much representation as we do. do, and we get nothing. So just imagine how little they get. Anyway, these books are historical fiction set in the 1700s. I actually haven't heard a lot of people talk about this since its release. I think it got mixed reviews, but I'm looking forward to seeing for myself what I think of it. Then next up we have A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi. This is Tahereh Mafi's contemporary YA debut. As you all know, she wrote the Shatter Me series, and I'm a huge fan of that series. I'm trash for it, but since this is contemporary and I'm mostly a contemporary person, I figured this would be perfect for me. It takes place a year after 9/11. I was 8 at the time, maybe 7, and it's about a Muslim teenage girl who is like having to deal with living in the US just at that time, basically, and dealing with racism and shit. I think this is one of those books that's gonna be mostly character driven, and I prefer story driven books, but I can like character driven books from time to time. Like, I loved Turtles on the Way Down by John Green, and that was very character driven. So I'm actually very much looking forward to this. I don't read nearly enough books about Muslim characters. Like, I barely read any. I need to broaden my diversity, so I have a feeling that this will be a really good way to go about doing that. I'm not saying that like by reading one book about a Muslim character I've like become the master of diversity or anything, but I feel like this might be a good place to start. And a final book for this messy haul is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. And this is another one of those that I've like randomly picked up during the year sometimes because I've heard people talking about it. I know that this is about a main character whose brother gets accused of rape by, I think, by her best friend. So I know that the story is like focused on her having to deal with that. I think that there's asexual rep in here. In fact, I think I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get this, and then I heard that it had asexual rep, but I'm not really sure where that comes in. But I'm always on the lookout for asexual books. I've only read like 3. So if that is true, I will be very happy. But naturally, this is important because it talks about rape. I don't think I've read any books that focuses solely on that, so I think it will be very interesting. And from what I've heard, this one handles the topic very well, so I am looking forward to reading it. I am very much a contemporary person, like I said earlier, so I don't think I can go wrong here. And that is it. That is all of the books that I've gotten in the last half of 2018. Like I said, I'll be going to the US in 21 or 20 days, I think, and I am so excited about going back to like bookstores that have the books that I like in them. Like, you have no idea. Anyway, this was very messy, so if I upload this, yay me. If you watched this, thank you. I know I've been off, and like most people prefer to watch booktubers that actually post regularly, but I'm gonna try to get on that. I have been watching a lot of booktube recently, and most importantly, I've been reading a lot recently, more than like in the last half of 2018, thanks to me discovering the glory of audiobooks. So I'm very excited to be back and do more booktube stuff. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!